The Jews of Hebron are heroes. There are 500 of them, surrounded by 120,000 very, very hostile Muslims.
The settlers in Hebron are illegally being there.
What's wrong with Jews living in Hebron? Why is that illegal? This is our land, and the Arabs know that, and they have Mecca, and they have Medina. This is our holy city, and we're going to stay there.
There's no place under the occupation that I hate more than Hebron. There's no place in the occupation that I hate more to go and visit than Hebron, and I'm doing my best to be there as little as possible. Because in Hebron you get really the occupation in its most brutal, cruel, insane, crazy expression. It is really the place of evil.
احنا من محد ما اجوا المستوطنين سكنوا في تل رميدة هون من 82. يعني ساكنين هون، احنا بيتنا هون على اليمين، المستوطنين ساكنين بيننا على الشمال. الشارع هذا احنا كنا نمر منه ونجي بسياراتنا ندخل، وصف سيارتي على باب البيت هون. هي مستوطن صف سيارته وانا ممنوع ادخل سيارتي.
روحنا من المحل من عندنا قبل ما نروح نفكر كيف بدنا نصل، نطلع من باب المحل يمكن في مستوطنين بالشارع يجوا يخطوا علينا احجار، قبل ما نطلع يعني لازم نبقى عاملين خطه انه كيف بدنا نطلع على البيت، انه مثلا احنا طالعين زي ما قلت لك انه ناكل حجر يطبشونا، ما بنعرفش يعني الواحد قبل ما يطلع من المحل لازم ياخذ احتياطات، احنا ما بنعرفش يمكن احنا ماشيين اي واحد يجي يطخ او شيء، يعني ما حتى الاولاد هم نايمين بقلب البيت. احنا هون كان هذا ما كانش في شبك هون، كان كله زي هيك بس درب زين، وهي لما اجوا المستوطنين صارت حجار على البيت حطت لنا اياه السلطه، يعني انت اي فري كل الدار عندنا كلها عليها شبك، انه المستوطنين اي محل بيشوفوا فيش عليه شبك بيطخوا لنا عليه، هي صار عشان محطوط الشبك يجيبوا مقص يوصلوا لنا الشبك. احنا على البيت ليش اسكر الباب؟ تدخليش انت. ما تدخلي. تسقري الدلال. ما تدخلي. تسقري الدلال. ما تدخلي. ما بدكش تسكر الباب. شافت بابا كله. يلا وفي يا بيتا. شو دخلت؟ ليش قاعدة بعد البيت؟ ما بدي ادخل البيت. ليش قاعدة واو. اتصلي بالشرطة. شو جابك انت على هالصبح الله يجيبك. شو بتعمل؟ لحالك شرطة. لحالك. شرموت ديري بالك انت ما تجيش هون. بدنا نطلع من برات البيت، انت ما قلتيش عنا اتركيها. مش عارفه شو بتعمل يا خيال.
To me, Hebron is being a pioneer, like in the beginning of the state of Israel. There are different types of swamps that people have to deal with. Then there were swamps and malaria. Now there are security problems and people who question our rights to living here. And by living here, we're stating a fact, and that the fact is that Hebron is the heart of the Jewish country, and it's where it all began. And we just want to have natural Jewish life here.
فداء شريف يجي شريف والله اللي موتوها ايد شريف يا فداء خيال 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 الولد بده يطلع الولد هيو تحت مش عارف يطلع منهم وين طيح الولد شريف
الو كنسي
شفتوش شو بيعمل؟ مش عم تضرب فيه بس ضربني انا مش شايف شو بيعمل
كنسفني ما
الولد تعال جيب الولد شو عم تصيح فيه انت مش شايف شو بيعمل
وين ما تسمع
طب انت شوف الولد
Today in the situation in Eretz Israel, in Israel land, there are many questions. Why are we here? Or may we give anything to our enemies? And we are in the middle of a war, even if we are not saying it loudly. And I think that in Hebron there are not questions, there are only answers. We're here because of our patriarchs, that the God promised them that the land belongs to us.
Hello.
You can say that this is the essence, the hardcore of the occupation. Because there are settlers living inside the middle, the Kasbah, the center of a Palestinian city. And you have the Palestinians there, and they are very extreme. And there is the army that's protecting them and protecting the Palestinians against the settlers. So you have all the elements for a Greek drama, you know. This is the essence of the occupation.
Hey!
מה מפריע לך שאני אצלם?
אתה יודע שזו פרובוקציה, אתה יודע שאתה עושה בפרובוקציה.
באת לעשות פה פרובוקציה.
זה שטח
אתה
פרטי
באת
אגב.
לצלם מאוד בתמימות, הכנסת פה ערבים שאסור להכניס אותם. מאוד מאוד מאוד. אחר כך תבוא לצלם גם את החלקים שלנו עפים מרוב התלהבות. כן.
אני לא מגיע.
מאוד מפריע לנו.
חיים את חייהם, אנחנו עושים את שלנו.
כן, אתם לא עושים את שלכם. אתם בדיוק כמו המחבלים שעושים את חייהם. תפסיק לנסות לחרחר ריב. תפסיק.
I think the camera is protecting me. Like I can be in situations that without camera it will be much more hard to bear. And with the settlers, that you're seeing stuff here and sometimes thinking, just these people, what can we do with them? Because it's so crazy. I wish them a normal life, less hate, because they hate all the time. They hate. You see it in their eyes. You see in the body language. They hate. They're full of hate.
We are living in a liberal democracy with a free press and all of the other things that we take for granted in a democracy, and yet the reality in the occupied territories is very, very different. And surprisingly, in spite of the free press, in spite of the fact that you have hundreds of journalists covering the situation, it remains the case that the Israeli public really doesn't know what is taking place in the occupied territories. And I think they don't know because they choose not to know.
There was a war in 1948, a very long war and very cruel war, in which Israel gained 78% of the country of Palestine as it existed before. There was another war in 1967, in which Israel conquered the rest of Palestine. And the moment this war was finished and we saw these huge territories which we had conquered, there was a natural desire by some people to annex it to Israel. And after a few weeks and a few months passed by, and we suddenly saw there's no pressure at all on Israel to give back these territories, then slowly some people said, why not? Why shouldn't we get there and put our settlements there? The idea was to annex these territories. Wherever there is a settlement, the idea is to annex. The obstacle is that there is the Palestinian people living there. Then the question arises, how do you annex all these territories with 2.5 million or 3 million Arabs, Palestinians in them? And there are some people who say, just not take these 2.5 million Palestinians and push them out of Palestine, as we did to half the Palestinian people in 1948. So these are the settlers. These are the extreme settlers. And the most extreme are in Hebron.
حط الشبك هذا الجيش الإسرائيلي عشان المستوطنين بقعدوا بيجيبوا حجار برموها علينا إحنا على الناس اللي بتعدي من الشارع، فعشان هيك تركبوا كحماية لنا. فهالقيتا يعني هم هالقيتا عشان الحجار ما بتنزلش علينا صاروا يكبوا مي علينا ويكبوا الأشياء الوسخة علينا اللي بتنزل من الشبك اللي بتقدر تعدي من الشبك.
مية وسخة تبعت الغسيل، مية وسخة بيحطوا فيها مواد كيماوية بيرموها على الناس. الجيش بياكل في صحون، بيبعتوا له القيادة تبعتهم في صحون، بشخ في قلبهم وبرميهم على الناس. شو بدنا نقول؟ يعني إذا بدك نحكي بنحكي جرايد. بنحكي جرايد.
Hebron is probably the only city in the West Bank and Gaza, in the occupied Palestinian territory, to have settlements that are implanted at the heart of the city. And really the result of that is the slow death of the Palestinian population center for the benefit of the expansion of these settlements. You can see this as a trend since 2000, since the beginning of the recent Intifada, with the closures of all entry points into the old city. What we have since 2000 is closed areas where no Palestinian vehicle movement is allowed, another area where Palestinians are not allowed to go through, and no presence of Palestinians is allowed, and then you have closed shops.
You can't pass freely, you can't go freely to your hospital, to your home, you can't go freely to another village, to another city, you can't go to your university. More and more Palestinians are leaving, they're not allowed to open their shops, they're not allowed to access their homes. Even inhabitants are searched whenever they go in and out. They are doing everything possible to pressure people, to make them leave the old city so that settlers can take control.
أنا 5 متر من هون البيت تبعي. هلا بلف من فوق يعني حوالي نص كيلو باجي منشان أعدي. فلكن هون 5 متر. يعني بعد السد هذا أنا 5 متر بيتي. لما أنا بدي أسكر هذا ليش سكرته؟ بقول لك وضع أمني، شو وضع الأمني؟ شو مسويين؟ شو فيه؟ بقول لك وضع أمني. هاي سكروا 8 متر و 6 متر. يعني هذا سوبر ماركت كان، هذا استوديو تصوير، هذا بقالة، كله محلات كانت فاتحة هون وحياة عايشة الناس فيها. من شان بقول لك 400 واحد ساكنين هون، سكروا بلدي بحالها.
Living here is really coming back to the Jewish roots. It's the first Jewish city. We know that Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Rebecca and Jacob and Leah are buried here, and according to Jewish tradition, even Adam and Eve are buried here. So it's bringing up a Jewish family in the place of the Jewish roots, in the basis of the Jewish people.
In any other country in the world, they would be defined as fascists, if not worse. There are a bunch of 500 or so people whose aim in life is to drive out 160,000 Palestinians whom they consider as strangers. These people who have come 30 or 40 or 50 years ago from Europe consider the inhabitants of Hebron, who've been there for 5,000 years, as strangers.
I believe it's important for everyone to come and see what's going on here and not just have their impression from the news, because the news is very slanted. And when people come, they show that this is a place where people can walk around and visit and feel normal in, and it's not what they see on the news, where they think it's just a military zone. I think, a lot of soldiers come here. In the beginning, they think, this is like an army base. And then they realize that this is not an army base. This is a place where Jewish people live.
I remember in the year 2000, 2001, and 2002 and 3, the whole 30,000 inhabitants of the old city of Hebron were under curfew, 200 days in the year. That lasted for 2 to 3 years. This caused Palestinians to leave, shift from the old city outside.
I served in Hebron in 2 different periods of times. I came first as a soldier in the end of 2001 till middle of 2002. Then I came back as a commander in March 2003 till like around December. And the first 2-3 weeks that we came to Hebron, when we went down to the city, we were all shocked. You're sent to wheeled shops and doors for Palestinians' houses. You see sterilized streets where Palestinians are forbidden to walk and only Jews are allowed to walk there. You have to force curfew for all the time, invade houses on a daily basis. You go and walk on the streets and you find yourself in front of graffitis that probably in Germany sounds, it sounds familiar, better than to us. Such as Arab to the gas chambers, gas the Arabs, Arabs out with the Stars of David and Hebrew in the middle. And there was a group of my platoon in the beginning who thought to refuse to serve in Hebron. We were shocked. We didn't believe what's going on, You come to a place that we have 2 sets of law by definition, that the orders are that you have to protect the settlers, and if you see them attacking Palestinians, you're not allowed to arrest them.
Of course, there are many military people who are being sent there and come back from there full of hatred against the settlers. Because the settlers are treating these military people as servants. They treat the military as a kind of personal security detachment whose job was to obey and serve the settlers. But the Israeli army has been infiltrated for many years now by the settlers. And in Hebron, this is very obvious. The army is a part of the settlement. The settlement is closely connected with the army.
The security presence in Hebron is heavy. Unfortunately, there are people that are trying to kill us. Many of the terrorists that wander around trying to blow themselves up anywhere from Beersheba up to Haifa have come out of Hebron. And the presence, the military presence is here is to protect us, but it's also to try to weed out these terrorists and see to it that they don't get to Tel Aviv and blow themselves up.
Although legally they are there to protect everyone, to impose the law on everyone, the actual soldier stationed there understands his job as protecting the settlers and stopping Palestinian terror.
Okay, so we will start. Probably will be guided by David Wilder to the left and Ophel. David is the spokesman for foreign press of the settlement of Hebron, and Ophel is documenting our work. I just offered them to speak with you guys to give their point of view, and they refuse because they say they don't cooperate with traitors during a wartime like today, traitors like me. So you will get only one perspective today, and I'm sorry for that.
I don't call him military. Yuda Shaul, who leads the group, is in any other normal country, they would put him on trial for treason and hang him. But unfortunately, Israel hasn't reached that level yet of justice. People express their opinions. Some people are put in jail when they express their opinions because it's called incitement and whatever. He does what he does. That's considered to be legitimate. However, I don't relate to them too much importance or significance.
Around the beginning of 2004, when I was in a platoon sergeant